Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps, where we talk everything political from a conservative point of view. Everything from dog catcher all the way up to premiers and princes and dictators around the world. We talk about it all. We talk about the crazy stuff, the good stuff, and everything in between. So let's get this show going. Let's welcome all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, the guy with the plugged ears, but not the plugged sense of humor. Let's welcome Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome,
Howdy,
welcome.
guys. How you doing? Hello,
Howdy.
everybody.
I'm doing good. It was another fairly decent day. I think we got up to 71 today, but it's supposed to snow tomorrow. How about
we're under a flash flood warning for the next 2 days, and I think it's currently 80 degrees and windy.
Ooh.
Yeah, it got up to 82. It's cooling down now, so but yeah, we and the thing is, it's not been bright and sunny all day. It's been sort of cloudy and muggy, so I'm expecting some nasty weather tonight. When it's like this,
welcome all the way from New York, where it's not nasty up there. He's a good guy. Let's welcome Charles Gillespie. Welcome.
Hello.
hello, Charles.
Hey, Lloyd, everybody in the chat.
Yes, and how's the weather in your neck of the woods?
Well, actually, it's pretty lovely today, and gonna get progressively warmer the next 2 days. But then maybe we're supposed to have a lot of rain on Saturday.
Yep. Yeah, it's supposed to snow tomorrow, and I think it's supposed to stay wet till Monday. So, yeah. And up in the mountains, they're expecting over a foot of snow up there. Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Colorado. Yeah.
Yep. I remember Easter snowstorms. No.
Yep.
When I was a kid.
I just posted on Facebook a snowstorm or snow that we had here 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We got maybe 4 or 5 inches of snow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember we came down to Oklahoma during Easter vacation, as we called it back then.
Mm-hmm.
And came down here to Oklahoma, and it was nice and warm and sunny. We came back into Denver on Easter Sunday because that's the way the flight was. Got off the plane and I thought I was going to freeze to death. I mean, my God, it was bitter cold. It's like
Yep. Up in Colorado.
It was sunny, but colder than hell.
Oh,
And it's like wow. So
yeah. Well, if you stay out in the sun and it's not windy, it's nice. Yep. That's right, Bill. Up to my knees. All right. Well, let's get this show going. Trump's deporting more gang members, and one of them caught the attention of Senator Van Hollen.
yeah.
I think he's out of Maryland, and he decided,
Thought it was
what?
Maine. Thought it was Maine.
No.
Yeah, Maine.
Either
Yeah.
Maine or might be Delaware.
No, it's Maine.
Well, I challenge you then.
Charles agrees with me, so it's got to be right. But yeah, the guy's an idiot,
Yeah.
And hey, let the Democrats keep doing this. I mean, it's getting to the point. I mean, when you got guys like Bill Maher, who he's always been liberal, he even thinks Trump's is a nice guy. He doesn't agree with him, but he thinks he's a nice person. That just goes to show you how far out there and no, it is Maryland. Okay.
Yep, that's why I just looked
All
up.
right. Everybody corrects me. All right. Charles, you were wrong. I was depending on you. I backed a lame horse on that.
I got a little bit confused between that and Pam Bondi's speech the other day where they were suing Maine because of Title IX violations.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
an excuse, and he's going to stick with it.
Yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
but the whole point is that we were all wrong.
That's true. That's
I
true.
yeah.
Art finally
Anyways,
said Maryland after what third guess or something like
yeah.
that. So, you know, it started with an M. Hell, we were close, at least that
Yeah,
close.
it
At
did
least I
start
didn't say it was
with
Oklahoma or
an
Texas.
A.
You know.
Yeah, M and an
So,
A. Yeah.
yeah,
Maine, Maryland sounds same.
yeah, Minnesota. Yeah,
Well, no, Minnesota is MI.
yeah,
So it's
but it starts with an M. That was my point. You know, but you're right. Maine and Maryland are closer together than Minnesota.
yeah. Mhm.
Massachusetts. You know. It was one of them Yankee states, is all I know.
Yeah, one of them.
One of them
Yeah,
damn
it's
Yankee states. But anyways, yeah, let the Democrats keep pulling this kind of crap, and it's just going to make it that much better.
right.
It's, I mean, if you listen to the mother describe the situation and how this
Right.
guy did his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
there is no way in hell a a human being with with a heart and compassion could
Mm,
possibly support that crazy piece of crap down
right.
there, you know. And it's the judges. I mean, they are so bound and determined to destroy our democracy that they don't care. They just
Right.
the human
Mm-hmm.
factor doesn't come into play anymore. They're no longer judges. You know,
Yep.
they're just they're facilitators of an ideology. Is all they are.
But
They're legis-
Lloyd, they're just preventing a dictator like Trump from destroying democracy.
Well, you know that guy, the president of Venezuela was here, and
Yeah.
he's done a lot to clean up his country.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, yeah, he was here this week,
Yeah.
Okay.
and he's a dictator, but as he
Yeah.
says, I'm the cool dictator. You know,
Yeah.
and what he has done to clean up his country, their crime rate was one of the highest in the world, is now one of the lowest.
Are
Now,
you thinking of El Salvador?
I thought it was Venezuela was the
No,
president.
it's El Salvador.
El Salvador. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Wrong again,
You're wrong
Lloyd.
again. Hell, I don't know.
You
I'm
haven't had much sleep lately. We'll cut
no,
you.
I haven't. I've had a bad week, so it's just my
Yeah.
mind's not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
it probably was El Salvador. Anyways, that guy has done a lot, and you know, if you got to have a dictator,
Mm-hmm.
at least you have a cool one. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill, I caught it. I'm wrong again.
Yeah.
Where the hell did I get Venezuela?
I think you were thinking Maduro because he was talking about he got message from Biden saying, "Yeah, bring your prisoners over."
Oh yeah,
So he
yeah.
shipped them over there. So that's how a lot of
Yeah, Uncle
these.
Bill says he's no dictator. That's true. He was duly elected,
Yeah, it
and
was
by quite a bit.
right. Mm-hmm.
And we've had our thing. We have a history with El Salvador, anyways, or the whole Central America. You know, uh, I never. It was back in the late '70s, early '80s. It was hard to keep up with who in the hell was. Which side were we on? Were we on the side of the rebels or the government? It's like
Right.
cross one border it was the rebels, cross another it was the government. You cross another border it was back to the rebels again. It's
Right.
did we support the Sandinistas? Did we support the
Contras.
the Contras? Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Which
were
group did we support? It's like,
Contras.
and having been part of all that confusion at one point
Yeah.
in my Air Force career, I got to admit you just never knew, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, I mean that's he's cleaned up the country. He's dropped their crime rate down to, I still find it hard to believe that Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Honduras are tourist places, or
Yep.
we're becoming that. There where a lot of expats were moving to and living.
Right.
But I apologize,
Mostly
Charles.
Costa
Huh?
Rica is where a lot of them are going.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't live in any of those countries right now. It's still too volatile.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, you're right. Costa Rica is probably the most stable.
It's probably the most stable. Yeah.
Yeah. But they keep their electricity going, unlike Puerto Rico, where they can't even keep their electricity going. You know, it's almost like the Philippines. It's like, man, that's
Yeah.
about the only downside to the Philippines are the daily brownouts there.
Yeah.
You know, because their infrastructure
Well,
is just
that'd be perfect because people in California this summer are probably going to be experiencing that again. So,
yeah, probably. Yep.
you know,
hmm
as soon as those air conditioners start kicking in, it's
Yep.
their grid. They haven't built anything new in so many years. Their grid just can't handle it.
hmm
And I think it's a little ridiculous that we as uh, citizens of other states are having to sell our electric to them.
Right.
Because they can't produce their own.
And now Gavin Newsom is trying to stop Trump's tariffs. Like, gee, I didn't know California had that kind of power to where you could supersede a federal authority because it's the purview of the president
Yeah.
to put tariffs on, not the states.
Yeah. And, going back to some of that, like we were talking about that judge and that idiot going down to El Salvador.
hmm
Let's see.
I don't think he's going to go down because the president I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but they've said that they're not going to let the Democrats into the country.
Well, the guy got in, and he was
Oh.
told no. He was told no. You can't take him back. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's an El Salvadoran citizen. He's in El Salvador. He's going to serve his time here. End of conversation. Goodbye.
Uh-huh.
Toss around a narrative that their
Yeah.
prison is torturing the inmates. No evidence of that of any kind. Exactly.
Right. hmm
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
They're and they just keep sinking themselves. They have absolutely no compassion for human beings other than, I mean, even their own agenda is not compassionate.
Hollandaise.
Yeah, Hollandaise, yeah, Van Hollandaise, yeah. That's right. He had refused the. I just caught glimpses of that. I was looking
Mhm.
at some of that today. It's like, but when you listen to that mother describe the horrendous act that man perpetrated on her daughter,
Right.
the torture that he put her through before she finally died,
Right.
it's just. I personally, my opinion is guys like that, we need to strip them buck ass naked, take them out, tie 2 heavy rocks to their feet, and then put them on a pointed post.
Oh yeah. Have a seat over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
hmm
That's what I feel needs
Yeah,
to be
we
done to
call
people like
the
that.
Vlad. Yeah, the Dracula movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Terry and you
Vlad
went
the
on.
Impaler. Yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't all wrong about some of that. I think some of these guys. I'm sorry, but when you hear the kind of stuff that he did,
Yeah, he even assaulted his girlfriend that he had a kid by.
yeah,
He's got a restraining order on him from that gal, and it's like, man,
yeah, it's funny. He's supposed to be this family man, but yet there's a restraining
family
order on
man.
him.
We're calling him the Maryland man. He's not from Maryland.
No, he's from El
He's
Salvador.
yes, he's an illegal.
Yeah,
And
and he already
illegals,
had deported. I know it's hard,
illegals
right?
don't have the same rights as Americans.
They don't.
Yeah, so why are they treating foreigners like they have the same rights that we do? They're not citizens. They don't get the same rights we do, which is
Correct. No,
I don't.
aspect. Yeah. Uh,
I don't know when this idea that illegal immigrants are given the same rights that citizens,
right.
have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I discovered something new this week that I didn't know. Did you see the interview that Trump did with that one reporter where he sat down and did an interview this week, and she asked all of the questions in Spanish? She spoke English perfectly good, but
Oh,
and he answered them all in English, but he answered every one of them.
oh, wow.
I
So
did
he,
not know that he spoke. And I mean, she just rattled it off, and then turned around and would talk to him in English too. But she'd ask the question in Spanish, and he would answer it.
no, that's interesting. So he's fluent
He,
in other
apparently, he
languages.
speaks. Yeah, apparently he is.
You understand it, but he just chooses not to.
Well, I think he chose not to speak it because English is the language that he's designated as the
Yeah,
official
that's
language of
correct.
the.
The official language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was.
Interesting. Interesting.
It was. It was. Yeah, I saw it on. It was on Fox News. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit earlier about Bill Maher had a meeting with Trump. Out of respect for his mutual friend Chris Rock, or not Chris Rock, Kid Rock.
Kid Rock. Yeah.
Kid Rock. Sounds like Chris Rock. Anyway,
Right.
one's black and the other one isn't. Anyway, so he was surprised what kind of person Trump was,
Yeah.
and how Trump was, very congenial, easy to talk to, and
And he.
actually wanted to listen to what he had to say. Yeah, which was very,
Yeah, he brought a list of I don't know 80 or
oh,
90 things that Trump had said about Bill Maher, insults.
mhm,
And he says, I said if I ever got the opportunity, I was going to bring this list and ask him to autograph it. And he
and
held it up on his show and says, there it is. And
yeah,
Trump
mhm,
autographed it. Trump,
mhm,
and Bill Maher respected him for that. He may
mhm,
not agree with him. He may not like the man as far as his policies go. But
right,
as far as, that night and that moment, he said it was a very cordial, he says, downright enjoyable dinner in which
right.
and of course now the left is all over his ass for that. And
Oh, yeah, I
why
bet.
why can't I say a person's nice? It's what's the problem?
Yeah. How dare you humanize him?
Yeah,
He's
exactly. And
Don't you know that, Bill? Get your head straight. Yeah.
yeah. And it's kind of funny because the people, which, when you think about it, I mean, Morning Joe and whoever that gal is with him,
Mika
yeah,
Brzezinski.
yeah, whatever, Joe and Mika, they ran to Mar-a-Lago even before I think before he'd even been sworn in,
Right.
to try and
Mhm,
suck up to and like, oh, we'd like to have an exclusive. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't need you. You
right.
know,
That's
told
right.
them to go pack their bags. Get it.
Yep.
Not
Go
staying here
pound
this
sand.
week. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Hmm.
I think Bill Maher was, he was honest and about things. I don't agree with Bill Maher. I
Yeah,
never
I
have
don't
liked him.
either. I
To me, he's
I
always
used
looked like a greasy greasy haired used car
yes, yeah.
salesman.
Well, back in the day when I was still doing comedy, I looked at him differently. But after 9/11, he really changed my view about him because he used to do a show called Politically Incorrect.
Yes, I remember that show
And
on
I
HBO.
enjoyed that show. And after he made those comments about 9/11 and all that crap he said about George W. Bush, I just said, this guy's an asshole. I'm not
Yeah, he
my
started
own.
out as doing the politically incorrect, and he was he was okay with that, you know. He was
Mhm.
obviously at that point libertarian, but he had
Yeah.
slowly drifted further and further left. He seems to be coming back towards the libertarianism again.
Right. Right.
There are some of his views that are definitely libertarian, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, because he's always he at one time he was supportive of the military, which is technically, you know, it's what libertarians are known for. They're big on the military, they're down on big governments, you know,
Right. Right.
but they
And
support.
foreign intervention as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Entanglements.
right, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like okay, uh, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was good that he was at least honest and fair enough to give the guy a
Mhm.
uh, you know, and he did it at the behest of Kid Rock.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. And I respect him more. They did that,
yeah,
and
I'll respect him for that. You know, I may not agree with there again. I don't have to
yeah.
agree with a guy, and
Mhm.
I don't have to even watch him. I choose not to.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. He's
uh,
a dope head. He likes his pot, and it's like I don't care. What people do in their own
right,
home.
yeah,
That's their business.
yeah, just
But
don't.
uh, yeah, and the way he compared Trump to the Clintons, he's met the Clintons and the Obamas. He goes, I never felt a connection like I
Right,
did with them, like he
yeah.
did
He
with.
said he did. He never sat down and you know, it's like he sat down and had a meal with this guy. You know, he
Hmm.
felt like he was talking to just another guy. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
uh, they didn't agree with each other, but they Trump showed him respect, which is what I think a lot of people have missed. Is
Hmm.
Trump treats even his enemies with respect
Right.
up to a
Right.
point, you know.
Right.
What he says outwardly and how he deals with them behind closed doors are two different things.
Right.
And invariably behind closed doors is where things get done.
Hmm.
Uh I remember when they were trying to when in the movie Ronald Reagan or in the movie Reagan, which just recently come out. Yeah, from the same political opponents that threw false accusations of bigotry on the basis of their band of weirdos aren't fact checking. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, these uh the left has I mean the far left has just gone to the point of they have nothing, you know, there's nothing left for the left to talk about, you
Right.
know. So now they're beating the same old drum and, you know, shouting, you know, the world is ending, you know. Be interested to see what happens with Letitia James. Yeah, there's something going on with her. I
Oh
forgot.
yeah. Yeah. She is under investigation for the same thing she accused Trump of. Which is, I thought, ironic.
Yeah,
Very.
yeah,
Hmm. So, huh, yeah, where she actually falsified some papers
some
and
papers. Yeah,
also had her father's name as her husband. I'm like, going, wait a minute. I think there's somebody from Minnesota doing the same
I
thing.
was going to say that left seems to be having a lot of
Ilhan
incestual
Omar.
relationships there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, hello,
Yeah.
Ronnie and
Yeah. We got
TJ
Ron,
and
got
Andrew and of
TJ, Andrew, Michael, Brian, Bill,
course Brian
and Don.
and Don too. Don's there
And
too. Yeah,
waiting for Lon to show up. He'll probably show up later. He may
yeah,
be working right now.
yeah.
So yeah, a lot going on. Oh, they uh, they had another Blue Origin flight with all woman crew.
Oh, that
And
is
did you
yeah.
see that Katy
I
Perry?
heard.
God, what a nut job she is.
Yeah, she said we did the same thing that Alan Shepard did in his first flight. You know, it's like No, you didn't. Alan
Yeah,
Shepard got lit up on a damn Roman candle, and nobody knew if the son of a bitch would fly. You know,
right.
he was a test pilot for that. Yeah, he wasn't
Yes,
in control, but he was still the guinea pig for that.
right,
And they weren't the first all woman crew to
right,
begin with, because
right.
the
Yeah,
Russians did it back in 1963 when they sent up that woman, as a
yeah.
publicity stunt.
Tereshikova,
Yeah. And it was an
Valentina.
all woman crew.
Yep. And Alan Shepard flew further than they did.
Oh, yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
further. Yeah.
Yeah. He went a hell of a lot higher. They may have started on the same trajectory, but they went up, came back down. Whereas,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a gal that's done a study of women. She wrote a book about the women of NASA.
Oh, yeah. That was Amy Title, I think
Yeah.
is her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
boy,
see
she
her on
ripped them.
Facebook quite a
Yeah.
bit. She's
Yeah.
on YouTube. Yeah.
Right. She
She,
ripped them a new one.
oh, yeah. I sent you a link to that video.
That's
And
where I saw it, because you sent me the link. I knew I saw it somewhere. And yeah,
mhm,
it was. I mean, instead of enjoying the flight for what it was,
right.
they had to make a deal about it. Like,
Big deal about it. I don't even know if Katy Perry even looked out the window. I think she was looking at her phone mostly.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most impressive was that I've seen of all those was the reaction William Shatner had.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
man was moved to tears over that,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
the kind of awe and wonder you want to see in our young
Mhm.
people when it comes to this space stuff. Not a bunch of, I mean, you had Katy Perry, and you had Gail, whatever her name is,
Gail
Oprah's buddy.
King
Yeah,
and
Gail King, Oprah's.
and Bezos' girlfriend, where her boobs could be a flotation device.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It
If
was
they
silly,
yeah.
and they weren't technically a crew; they were
Right.
passengers, and
Passenger.
they were they had to pay to do that.
Yes. Mhm.
That's not a free flight. It's
Yep.
and it certainly is. Certainly, there's no testing.
Yeah, they actually had like 2 or 3 actual scientists on there
Mhm.
with.
Yeah, with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just ridiculous. When I first saw that, I knew there was a reason I never liked Katy Perry. So I thought, well, that's one more
I
reason.
kissed that girl. I
Yeah.
liked it.
I don't even know. I couldn't even tell. I couldn't even name a song that Katy Perry does.
I only know 2 songs, that one and Roar. And those were the only 2
I don't
songs.
even know if I've ever. I may have heard them, but I wouldn't know
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
I don't listen to a lot of that pop crap or whatever it is. I listen to a lot of different stuff, but that's not. She's not one of them.
Oh, and the door opening fail of the flying. Oh, I did not know that. Mhm. Mhm.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't have to parallel park.
That's true. Yeah.
What else? Well, here in Colorado, our governor signed another gun bill requiring people to take a gun safety class before they could purchase a semi-automatic weapon. Yeah. So look at the burden that's going to put on the sheriff's department around the state.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Well,
they're already crowing about it.
when I
Yeah.
was when I was a kid, we were like one of the first. We were one of the first groups. That when you turned 12, if you wanted to hunt, you had to go through a hunter safety course.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they still do that now or not, but
I took mine back in the late 90s, and I took it with Sid Sellers, and he was like one of the original guys that started that program.
Yeah,
And we did it at the old Gart Brothers on Broadway.
yeah. Oh, I remember that place.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. And we I took the class there, and I think where the I think we went out to the official building, the Hunters, the CPW, which is out on 58th, and it's not quite Washington, but it's up that way.
right. Yeah.
And yeah, they had a range where you had to do your
Your
you
field
know
test.
field test and all that. And,
Yeah, I did the same thing back
mhm.
God, I don't know, in the 60s. Yeah, in the
Yep.
60s.
18,
Huh?
1860.
No, the 1960s.
Yeah, that would
Uh
have been before statehood in Colorado.
yeah, I know, because Colorado became a state in 1876. That's called the bicentennial state.
Uh,
Anyways, no, I took it back in the 60s, and it was the first year it was required, and all of us at that time, uh bunch of us took it. They offered it two different ways. They offered it, you could go downtown and go down to wherever it was at, wherever Moose and Goose had their setup at, you know,
uh-huh.
uh, you could take it there, or on Saturdays, PBS had a class.
Oh,
You had to send in self-addressed stamped envelope, and
uh-huh.
they sent you your whole packet, and then you went through each Saturday and went through a thing, and then at the end of that time period, then you had to call and schedule. They had certain days. Uh, they had certain times every Saturday that you'd go out there and you'd do a field testing. When I went out there, my God, there was we took our written test first, and then right after the written test, we actually took it right out there on a picnic table, right out there at the shooting range. And as soon as we got through with the written test, if we passed that, then we went through and did the field test. And
Cool.
one of the guys that I'm still friends with on Facebook, we were both in that same class and took it together. So you know, and
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean that, and it's a good program. The NRA, it was the NRA was the sponsor of it. You know, I at one time I could still remember all the 10 commandments of hunter safety,
Right,
and the one that comes to, of course, the first one, which is treat all gun with respect as you would a loaded gun.
right.
You know,
That's right.
and that's probably the only one I remember. But I've lived by
Well,
that.
and don't ever point a gun at
Yes,
somebody, even
don't
if
ever
you
point a gun at
think
somebody.
it's not loaded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that there again goes with the whole treat every gun as if it were a loaded gun,
right.
because
Hmm.
even a toy gun, my
Right.
son from my first marriage, Paco, when he was, I was in the Air Force, and he was just a toddler at the time, and I get him he'd get a toy gun or something for his birthday, but he was not allowed to point it at us or at anybody,
Uh-huh.
And one year, the one of the other associate pastors came over to our house with their little girl, and they were playing with all the toys in the toy chest, and this little girl picked up this gun and pointed the gun at her, and goes at him, and goes bang bang. He grabs the gun and says, "You don't point that at anybody." And of course, the mother turns around and they look at us. I said, "That's the way I trained him. You do not point toward guns at anybody. You don't know if it's a real gun or a toy gun."
Right.
And she
Hmm.
goes, "Oh my God." And he was like 3.5, maybe four
Wow.
years old at the time. And he
Hmm.
knew then, and
Uh-huh.
because that's the way we trained him. We wouldn't let him, because both of his grandfathers were hunters and shooters. His uncles were, you know,
Hmm.
and so it's like even his aunts were hunters and shooters. So yeah, I never forget that because they were just shocked. Why did he get so upset? And why did he take the gun from? Because she pointed it at him, and that's not allowed in this house.
All
You know,
right. That's
because
good.
because the next time it might not be a toy gun, it might be a loaded real gun that Daddy laid like an idiot laid sitting out.
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right.
said, if you never pointed at a person, then you never will shoot that person by accident. There
Right.
are no such things as accidents.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
an accident is when you walk by a gun and it suddenly goes off on its own because there's a defect and shoots somebody. That would be an accident. You know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
anything else is not an accident. So when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
gun handling, and that's what I learned. You know, I learned that, like I said, in hunter safety, and uh, to this day, I still practice those rules. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
uh, I have to remind myself every so often. I have to stop when make
Mm-hmm.
sure I make sure I've always got my number one safety set. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is cool, cat. I think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think all kids should. I mean, I grew up in an era, and I've seen this. I actually saw my niece wrote something about this the other day. She grew up in an era, and I did too, where we rode to school, and uh, we'd ride to school, and we had gun racks in the back of our trucks, and
Right. Yeah.
and guns in them, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd get in fights, but nobody ever went out and got that gun and came into a school and shot people up.
Right.
You
And
know, 'Cause-
nobody stabbed a kid, got
no, no.
into a fight and stabbed. Well, now you hear stories every
There was a shooting at Florida State University today in
right,
Tallahassee, or six people. I don't know how many have died or if any of them
right,
died, but there was five in serious and one in critical condition, last I heard.
right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, you know, uh,
My guns have never gone out without me. Gone
yeah,
out
yeah.
without. Yeah.
Even a weapon discharging itself, in other words, around, it's still a mistake. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And also in Colorado news, our senator Michael Bennett is running for governor of Colorado.
oh, is he? Now,
So
is he a
yeah,
Democrat or a Republican?
yes, he is a Democrat. We don't have any Republican
Oh, that's
senators.
right. You don't have any Republicans now, do
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
And and another thing, he's not from Colorado.
Ah,
He's from Washington D.C.
of course. Of course.
And the same with Hickenlooper, our other senator.
Right?
He's from Connecticut. And it's like, why are we getting all these uh, politicians that are not from our state? I mean, Jared Polis, he's not from Colorado.
Right. Right.
I think he's from California.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool
Yep.
Cat's got a point. In Switzerland, they teach kids gun etiquette. Yeah.
Oh
They've got
yeah.
very, and muzzle awareness, marksmanship.
Marksmanship. Yep.
And it's a good idea. I mean, in my day and time, everybody knew, and I know of at least one uh situation in which it happened in my neighborhood where a kid discharged a firearm, and I don't know if he killed or if he just injured his brother uh very severely, and
Wow.
I can't remember now. I think he didn't kill him, but he paralyzed him.
Oh.
uh and it was, they were playing with a loaded gun because they had not been taught you don't touch guns, and that all guns are loaded. you
Mm-hmm.
know I don't hand a gun off to either one of my kids, my boys, when I'm showing them something, without it being racked open and locked in position, and they always double check to make sure, even though they've watched me drop the mag out, take the
Oh,
take the round
slide.
out of the chamber, open the
Yep.
slide. They've seen me do all that. they will still double check down that barrel.
That's good.
And it's
That's
just
good.
it's but yeah, I remember that, and it was because that family had never, which was rare, but I mean they were hunters. Obviously, Dad had guns, but he hadn't taught them the proper thing.
Right.
And I remember, man, that was those kids were in. It happened when they were like in grade school, and those kids were in high school when I knew them. So,
Hmm.
but
Right.
yeah, uh, I
Oh,
slept
Bill.
overload. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I slept overloaded. Yeah, I never knew it was there, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I
Man,
keep
did
a
it keep
loaded
you up
gun.
all night?
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all. I slept better.
Mm.
Tom hates hearing this, but that was the best damn night's sleep I've had. And I tell you what, I missed it when I came back here. I couldn't sleep worth a shit, but
Yeah.
that's because of one of my medications. And but that's the whole
From that good
the whole
cooking
med
down
thing.
there.
It just pisses me off the way they do shit now. Doctors apparently aren't trained in prescribing medicines, so they've got to have a specialty in prescribing medicine, like
Uh,
you know. And it just I talked with my cousin today because we were going over because her wheelchair died, and so I sent her up Judy's
mm,
wheelchair, which is like brand new, and so now I've only got 2 electric wheelchairs and 2 scooters left to get rid of. Well, 1 electric wheelchair to get rid of and 2 scooters to get rid of. So,
mm,
uh,
okay. Um, Bill says you're full of bull on your show. uh, I showed that nine
yeah, he
mil.
showed the 9 mil to you. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
that just
Yeah,
goes to show you I don't remember it.
you
That's
showed it on my show, and look what happened to that.
yeah,
Eh?
that's right. Yeah, yeah. No, I remember he did show it to me. It's like it just went like I didn't think anything about it because, as I said, I sleep with one on my bedside table at all times. It's always loaded.
Mhm,
And I had 2 of them. I had Judy's 380 on one side and mine on the other side. But
mhm.
uh, here a while back, I gave Judy's 380 to our oldest son, and because
Oh,
my youngest son will get my 9 millimeter,
okay.
because his brother got they're both the same gun. It's just that one's a 380 and the other's a 9 millimeter, and they're both Smith and Wessons. And uh, but yeah, so yeah, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. Okay, so that's all the other crazy stuff. Gavin Newsom trying to sue to keep Trump from implementing tariffs, and it's like everybody is acting like the sky is
oh, okay.
falling with all these tariffs, and I'm on the fence. I'm like, I look at my 401k and I'm like, oh yeah, I only have a few more years to retire. Come on, let's turn this around and get into positive territory. And there's even talk that he wants to abolish the IRS. So, but
Well, as history shows, we lived without the IRS for a long damn time,
yeah, we
and
did
this is a
for
tariff-based
yeah,
country,
yeah, over
and
100 years without
yeah, yeah,
the
did just
IRS.
fine without it,
Mm-hmm.
and
And we made all our money off of tariffs.
yeah,
That's just how things were. Yeah,
still sealing back. Okay, Bill. All right.
cool.
Oh, okay, from the Flymore kit. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
love that. I gotta. Me and Bill's on here. I didn't do a show Monday. I gotta.
Ronnie says I might not be a
One of the
10
things
on the
about
D.
going. One of the things about going to South Florida drone meetup is they give you stickers. Now, when
Yeah,
I got
oh yeah.
when I got this case, it had one sticker on it. Bill put it on there, and that was TJ's sticker right there, flat.
Oh, cool.
Then I got the old parts of drone, and I put it on there, and I've now,
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Awesome. I'll have
and
to make you a 3 Conservative Gimp sticker, and
Yeah.
you can have a Kovacian.
yeah, I got that. He sent a bunch of that stuff down, and I got that. TJ gave it to me. So.
And I gotta make stickers for my new logo. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
Drones and Entertainment.
there's a DJI sticker on the back that I put on there. I went ahead and got something. I ordered it this last week, and bought it, and I'm happy I got it.
Cool.
I got the Mic Minis, the Mic 2 Minis.
Oh, cool.
So I had some, so it's like,
Oh,
I had a mic system, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to hook up to the Osmo Action 5. But when I got this, it came with this funky little case, which actually holds everything.
nice.
You know, and it's a nice little zippered case. Says DJI on it, and but it came with some pretty damn cool stickers, like here's one of them, and then there's one back here to talk about drone piloting, and you can put on your case. It's like it came with that. And like, well, what the hell? I like the DJI sticker, so I stuck it on there. So
cool. What else is going on? That's Colorado passed a bill that says you can't misgender your children that are going through transition. Otherwise, you could lose your kid in a custody dispute. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this state? I think Colorado wants to be California. They're California envy. And
I was just reading some of the comments, and I couldn't help but, like Ronnie says, I learned something this past trip to Florida. I might not be a 10 on the beach, but I'm a solid 8 at Walmart. Yeah, I know, right?
articles.
Oh, okay. And then astronautical scientists have discovered aeronautical. Okay, I was looking at it from a distance through my bifocals.
Yeah.
You're right, it does say aeronautical. Have discovered more stickers. Well, what the hell?
That's a new word for me.
Astronomical? Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, you said
that's not a new word. It was applied improperly. I was thinking astrologically, and I was grabbing for a word, and I kind of threw them all together and came
you
up.
were grabbing, all right.
Anyways, it's science. That the more stickers you have, the better the pilot.
Better piloting.
Yeah.
Flying is scientific. It's scientific.
I'll say something about, of course, I go to the VA for my dental work. And of course, I thought I'd lost my teeth. I thought I'd left my tooth there at Bill's house. I discovered I had packed it in a different bag. Okay. So anyways, so I'd gotten in the habit of leaving my parcels in at night. Well, they've got a titanium alloyed back of some sort, the metal frame. Well, it wears those damn porcelain crowns out. And so I had a line of cavities going all the way across each one of my crowns.
Boy.
So I thought, well, all right, I'm going to have all this dental work done, and she's going to have to do all these fillings, including one of the anchor teeth, which is the last tooth I have in the back. So she had to do, you know, I knew she was going to have to do some major work on it. So I went in there and they got me all numbed up, and she went in and started working on it. And so she had to resculpture all these teeth. She had to fill them and use the different, you know, the little Blu-ray gun and whatever else they
Yeah.
do with that shit, you know, and then whittle on it and carve it and buff it and all this stuff. What were the chances of? I thought that they were just going to have to give me a new set of partials, because when she got through it, obviously it wasn't going to. These partials weren't going to fit.
Right.
She puts them up in there and pops them in, and they were perfect. That dentist was so good, she was actually able to sculpt the teeth back to what they originally were
Wow.
like when this mold was made for this partial, and they fit perfect. And
Great.
yeah,
Awesome.
so I'll say this much for VA dentist. This one, and not only that, uh, she knew I'd lost Judy this last year, and or last year, and we talked a little bit about it before, and so she asked how my trip to Florida went this time, because I told her last year I went and I wasn't quite in the right frame, but this year I had a. In the end, before we left, she reached out and gave me a big old hug, and it was just like,
Oh,
wow, that was, you know,
yeah.
she's a, and she's not the kind of gal that you would think would give a hug.
Right.
She's pretty, she's a farm gal. She's a, but
Farm
I thought,
gal. Yeah.
how damn nice could that be? But
Yeah.
I've had her for 10 years, so you know she's been,
Right.
you know, I tend
Right.
to not, uh, 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 you know, I tend to not switch out doctors if I don't have to. You know,
Yeah. Right.
had my last one 42 years.
Wow. Well,
The old bastard just had to go and retire and screw up all of my situation now. So,
mhm.
76 years old and thought he needed to retire. I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Ah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's that?
So yeah, nothing going on in Doge or finding more stuff. What else? Hmm, nothing else going on. Argentina's doing really good with their new president. He just came in and just he's the one that gave the chainsaw to Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. That's the guy I was thinking of, the president of Argentina, because he came in and he did away with like 200 government positions right off the
Right.
bat. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the guy I was
Yeah.
trying to think of, the guy from Argentina. So,
Yep.
or the
Yeah.
Argentine, as they used to call it back in the 30s.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, it's not
Yep.
bad for a haven for Nazis. You know.
Well, and he took their inflation rate was just terrible. It was
Oh
like
yeah, it
in
was like
four
120.
digits,
Yeah,
Now
yeah, it was
it's
like a
down to double
huge.
digits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
So
dropped it quite a bit. So.
yeah, so they could get their shit together now. I know I keep saying Philippines. I mean, that's a country that has so much potential. They're so strategically located. If they just get their shit together, they could uh, they could really be a powerhouse in Asia. I think. But
Oh my God.
babies and lube.
I
Oh,
That caught my eye, like, what the hell?
hmm. Ah, okay. Oh,
Oh my God. What has
mm,
this world become?
mm,
Only thing I can say,
that
all I can
was
think of is Armageddon.
Armageddon. Yeah, that's right.
Just,
Armageddon.
if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on YouTube. Type in
Yeah.
Armageddon.
Oh God, I still.
You will, there's no
Oh,
pictures, but you'll die laughing. It is, it is hilarious. That's been the group that I ran for, the Virtual Military Airlift Command group, flight simmers. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna have to find the link.
yeah. Well,
But
the
yeah,
other funny video is some guy had a bright idea. Hey, I'm going to launch a bottle rocket out of my ass. And
that's a new idea. I knew a couple guys
oh
did.
God, that was so funny because he just thought that thing was just going to fly away. No, when that exhaust hit his asshole, he just clenched up, held on to that stick until
Burned his ass up good. Yeah. Oh, it
it
just goes to show the stupidity of
oh,
men and boys. I knew a kid that he decided it would be a good idea to light a fart.
oh, yeah.
Burned his ass. We
I've
just,
heard
of course, we died
my,
laughing because we thought it was funny. But like,
my dad told me stories like that, when in the service where the guys got drunk and decided to light farts. And no, I think that was in college when he was at School of Mines. Fraternity guys were lighting farts, and oh
you're,
god,
it could be, Ronnie. I know it's a radio DJ, and uh, it was like, who's it? Ron L. Mercer type DJ. Uh, I think it was
oh
Ron. That was but this, yeah, it almost sounds like a Paul Harvey thing. Sounds like
right,
Paul Harvey's reading it.
mm-hmm.
The guy's cracking up.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It does. It sounded like Paul Harvey was doing it. Like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
And me and the guys with every once in a while do something really stupid and go Armageddon.
If you want to see something, have you ever seen Enemy at the Gates? That's what it's a story about a Russian sniper.
Yes,
during
yes,
Wo-
yes. That's the guy who plays Bond was in that, right? Daniel Craig.
Yes,
Yeah. Was that the one? He was the
well,
sniper?
I know Ron Perlman was in it, and oh God, who was the guy that played? Oh, he played Chris Kraft in Apollo 13. Uh, he was the head of NASA during that.
Oh, I
Oh,
can't
he was
remember now.
also in The Abyss, and he was in a shit ton of movies. Ed Harris, Ed Harris. He
Ed
played
Harris, yeah.
he
Yeah, that's
played
right.
the German sniper. Well, anyway, there's a scene of some bunch of drunk Russians, and one of them decided to light farts, and he just pulled down. They had a candle there, and he just and a blue flame shot out. I just kept thinking of some of the stories my dad would tell me.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, we were all guys get out there and they're out camping, doing whatever, and
Uh,
one of the guys thought that would be funny, and it wasn't so funny.
no,
He
especially the guy that had the sharks.
yeah,
Oh, it would be messy.
yeah. Thank you, Ronnie. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
uh,
So yeah, so I could stay up late tonight, guys.
oh,
Yay! No
yeah,
work tomorrow
that's right.
because
Yeah.
it's Good Friday. Now, Lloyd, you're the religious guy. Why is it Good Friday? It wasn't good for one guy.
I actually brought that up. Can't remember who I was talking to. Just yesterday, I said the same thing. It's
Mhm.
Good Friday, but it wasn't good for Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
think it's considered that because is because he died for our sins, and it was good for
Right.
us. Wasn't good
Yes.
for him.
Hmm.
Actually, today is one of the religious holidays too. It's actually in the high church. This is Monday, Thursday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh, and
and
we had Ash Wednesday was what, a month ago or a little over a
yeah,
month?
4 days ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's 40 days before Easter, I
yes,
believe. Yeah.
yes.
Uh, See, hey,
40 days is Ash Wednesday is the start of Lent.
right.
Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday is the last. That's how Mardi Gras got started. They cook. You're supposed to take all the
What kind of meat can priest? Yeah,
none,
fish.
none,
Fish meat. None.
yeah,
Yeah.
none, yeah,
Um,
yeah, uh,
uh,
yeah.
mm,
But yeah, no. You have Fat Tuesday, in which a lot of people gave up meat and meat fats and stuff like
ah,
that for Lent. So they
mhm,
would have uh, on Tuesday, they would cook up and use up all the oils and stuff, a lot of pancakes and stuff like that. And they'd use that all up so that they didn't have it there for the next 40 days of Lent. And then
ah,
the first day of Lent, of course, is Ash Wednesday.
mhm.
Now, do you know where the ash comes from? You know where they get the ash? Because you may have seen it on Fox News every so often. You'll see somebody with the cross on
Yeah,
their
I
forehead.
know Janine will have
Yeah,
something on her.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What that is it's the ash from the palm leaves from
Right.
when Jesus rode into Jerusalem. That's originally where
Uh,
it started. Palm Sunday. The way the Catholics do it is on Palm Sunday they hand out uh, palm leaves or palm fronds, and
mm,
or strips of it. And what you do is what most people do is they'll take one of those things and they'll twist it and fold it to where it makes a cross. And you keep that in your house for the year. And
uh-huh.
come the time for the next Ash Wednesday, you burn that
Uh,
now dried cross made out of a palm stem
uh-huh.
uh, or leaf. You burn that into the ash, and then they bless you with the ash.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jesus liked Honda. You know why?
Why is that?
He rode in on the Accord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, uh that's where Ash Wednesday and all that,
That's
and
mhm.
yeah.
That's
Something
well,
I learned about when I was going through what's called RCIA, which is the Christian rite of Christian initiation in adults,
uh-huh.
which is basically adult catechism for
Uh,
converts.
well, when I lived in Michigan, my best friend down the street, he was Catholic, and God, he would and say, "Hey, Dave, let's go do this." No, I gotta go to catechism. Well,
Yep.
and I
Neighbors.
learned so much about the Catholic religion, and plus, most of the kids that I went to high school with were Catholic because a lot of those kids they went to Shrine of the Little Flower, which was a K through 12 school. But when they
Right.
got to high school, parents said, we can't afford it. You're going to
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
school. So they went to Kimball. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I was a kid growing up, I grew up in a neighborhood that was we were all predominantly. I didn't realize it was like a segregated neighborhood, but we were almost all Germans, of German descent,
Uh-huh.
of some sort. It just turned out that way, and we had Lutherans and Catholics. Those were basically the two groups we had till
Hmm.
they put up that little church up on the corner for where I lived, there
Hmm.
on corner of Zane Street and 77th, I think.
Right.
And uh, uh, and it was a Mennonite church, and that's one we
Oh.
ended up going to. It was a branch of the Mennonites, and
Ah,
that's the one I
okay.
ended up finally, growing up in until I moved to Grand Junction. Then uh, met my first ex-wife there, and became involved with the Pentecostal. But anyway,
Ah,
yeah, we went to Sunday school, and
I did too for a
but
while.
but
My grandparents were Christian Scientists. Yeah, I'm
ah
doing the eye roll, and
yeah
and so my dad fell out of favor with that, and then we stopped going to church because he had fallen out with both of his parents over that.
yeah
And but he did reconcile with his dad, and we That's
Right.
why we moved out to Michigan, because he was going to take over his dad's business. And then
Right.
that fell apart, and they were still pretty close, but he was still somewhat estranged to his mom because, one time she and her, my step grandfather came to visit, and he caught her looking through his checkbook, and he just blew his stack when he saw that, and that was it. I don't think. No, he didn't see her after that. He did keep in contact because he liked her second husband, or he was a really nice guy. He was also from Oklahoma, and his last name was Bigham. So,
Really? Okay.
yep. So they retired. Well, after she passed away, he moved back to Las Vegas and lived with his son and daughter-in-law and lived out there until he passed away. He was a super nice guy, So that's what's going on, and welcome to Three Conservative Gimps Guns and Religion Show. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming. It's nice to do an extended show once in a while. You all have a great Good Friday, and enjoy your turkey or ham on Sunday, Easter
Sunday. Have a happy Easter, everyone. And
you all take care. And don't forget, I'm still doing a show tomorrow night. So see you over there. And Bill's on Saturday. Take care, everyone. And Bill wants to know, that would be a blank check, Bill.
a canceled check.
Canceled check. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good night, folks.
God bless
Happy
everyone.
Easter.
Good night.
Or actually,
Happy
happy
Easter, all.
Resurrection Day.